Welcome to BD Tower. We're now looking east. We're standing on what used to be two passing sidings back in the good days of railroading here. I'll take you over here. Look at the eastbound signal. This is BD interlocking, eastbound signal. Here's the view the engineer gets as he's sitting on top of the signal here. Generally they wouldn't stop this close to the signal. Give you an idea as I zoom out here. Whoa. Piece of ballast moved underneath my tripod leg. Sorry about that. Okay, looking westbound, this is the east end of the hill yard, what's left of the hill yard. And you see the yard lead and the valley main together over here. As I zoom around here. And there's the signal we were just looking at. As I zoom in, up here you'll be able to see where the valley main and the yard limits go together. There's the dwarf that protects coming out of the yard onto the main, and there's the connection to the main, and we'll see that shortly. Here's the engineer's view, which is a view I've gotten many times switching in the yard here. Again, we're facing eastbound to BD Tower. The track on the right is the valley main. It goes down to the Y and then connects to the track that goes to Cleveland and Canton. The far left tracks over here are the main line, Akron-Chicago main line, or actually Chicago to Baltimore main line. And then of course we're on the yard lead, which again up here ties in with the valley main. Then you go through the dwarf onto the main if you're going to leave the yard here. Another shot of the mainline CPL. And the shot the engineer gets as he's coming off the valley main. The yard lead comes in from the left there. And there's our dwarf. If you've never seen a dwarf up close, that's what a dwarf signal looks like. Multiple different indications possible. This one has one lower marker on the bottom. You can have the same thing as a full head CPL, but you don't have to, and this is the case here. This is for coming out of the yard normal running. You'd get a clear. If you're coming out of the yard crossing over a BD crossover to reverse run, you would get a green with the white marker below, which depending with Chessie or CSX days what the indication is, be a medium clear or a limited clear or something to that effect. We can have an approach depending on the signal at XN, or you can have the absolute stop, which we have right now. If you're on the main line, it's a different story. If you look at the dwarf up here on the main, which we're going to, oops, sorry, wrong direction, which we're going to take a look at in a little bit here, that's for reverse running on the main line. And you see it's only got two indications, full clear or stop. However, that's not accurate because back when we still had XN signal in operation, you could get the clear approach or stop. But XN signal has been removed, and so now you just have the red and green only. And as we stand on the crossing, still facing east, we now see this is the BD crossover. And of course, there is the dwarf and the high signal protecting westbound movements. And this signal does give a restricting aspect, as well as the dwarf does for going into the yard, as well as the full red, yellow, green lower and upper markers. This is indeed the last DC powered interlocking true B&O CPLs that exist on the Akron Division in November of 2014. And this is the actual original, I think it's 1960s crossings and gates here, crossing lights and gates. BD Bell, which is now with a friend of mine up in the East Coast, used to be on this mast here. It failed, the signal maintainer removed it. I was able to obtain the bell, repair it, get it working, and then sold it to a friend of mine. It's kind of rare to see these old lights again. Kind of neat, but kind of rare.